Actually possess middle-aged Lionel's body today because we are talking about LARPing, and our special guest is...
My name is Chris Glover. I'm the big kahuna of ZPG Games. We publish a LARP rule system, and we run our test group in Round Rock, just up the road here. I've done a whole lot of LARPing over the years, and studied a little bit on the side, look into some different stuff, and I really like being on your show so far.
It's been an interesting debate so far. So we always start with the week of geek news. So, you know, Comic-Con happened, and there's not a whole lot of news to talk about, but there are some good stories. So first off, they've decided to make a Sleepy Hollow TV series. Now, granted, it's not the first time they've tried to do that. It's updated, but, you know, Once Upon a Time was a success. I loved Once Upon a Time. People love Grimm. I just don't like Grimm. So it looks like studio executives are now looking more towards the fantasy aspect, which means we should probably get some really good shows. I happen to love the Tim Burton version of Sleepy Hollow because Tim Burton's like my god. I'm not going to even lie. But if it's like Buffy, I'm also a huge Buffy. Do you like Buffy?
I'm a real big fan of the original cheesy movie.
I can't stand the movie.
Because it was the level of cheese that it's got some of my favorite plot holes of all time. But I will say I just couldn't get behind the show. I know that's crazy. I know people all over out there just got yelling at me. No, the movie was awful, because I hear that all the time. But you know, I think it's one way or the other. Either people really like the movie and don't care as much for the show, or really like the show and thought the movie was terrible. And I will say the movie was bad.
See, I'm that way. I don't like the movie, but I love the show. But like, I didn't like Firefly, and I get so much flack for that because there was Firefly, and I don't get Doctor Who. I get so much flack for that too.
I try to get into Firefly, and it looks like if I could just sit down and watch enough, I could see where everybody's going with it.
Yeah.
But I just get little bits here and there, and I think it's not enough to really get sucked in.
Well, I don't think they gave enough time, but I don't really do the westerns, so that was my problem. I'm done.
Yeah.
Checked out.
Yeah. That may be mine too.
Sleepy Hollow. We'll see how that comes out. Now, has anyone not seen the Superman trailer? Besides you, Death, because you have no life.
Oh, ha, ha, ha.
So they released a new Superman trailer for Man of Steel, and I am not a Superman fan. I can't stand Superman.
Oh, wait, you mean Real Steel? Yeah, I've seen it.
Not Real Steel. Get the brimstone out of your ears.
No, the one they just showed at the preview of the Batman movie that you apparently hate.
I don't hate the Batman movie. We'll get to that in a second. So the Man of Steel, it looks infinitely better than the last movie. I'm going to give it that much credit. It looks so much better than Superman Returns, which the entire movie was built around that airplane scene. That was the whole budget for the movie right there. Right. Done. So it looks pretty good. Now, on our website, you have to go watch this trailer. Under Geek Week News. What do you get when you put bad puppets in a movie? Anybody? The Dinosaur Project. It's one of those found footage movies about a crew of kids who find dinosaurs in the Congo. And I kid you not, it is some of the worst puppet work I've ever seen. Like, you could see the seams, and they just look like reject Sesame Street puppets. I'm not lying.
Oh, I'm all over that.
I'm all over it, too. I've got to watch this movie. It looks that bad.
Mind if I tag along? Well, wait a minute. I'm going to be tagging along anyway.
Yeah, you're going to be tagging along anyways. You're always my shadow.
You're welcome.
So
you're going to go along to kill the movie, aren't you?
Yeah.
Hope so.
Hopefully. Star Trek fans. Yes, no?
Sure.
I enjoyed Next Generation, but this week is the Blu-ray release, and it looks so beautiful. I will not lie. It looks beautiful, and I'm so tempted to buy it. And once again, I don't own any Star Wars Blu-rays, but I do own the Star Trek movie on Blu-ray. So I'm not being a good Star Wars fan. And now I'm debating getting Next Generation on Season 1 remastered because it's just glorious.
Even if you didn't buy some of the Star Wars stuff at the moment, you know, George Lucas is just going to re-put it out a few years down the road.
I'm waiting for the 3D release. I'm just 3D. I'll be done. I'll buy it as they come out because I don't want to spend $80 on the box set just to buy another box set with the 3D because I'm stupid that way. Shut up. Good. So, yes.
Shut up. You always spend money for us.
Now, next to last story before we start talking about Batman real quick. Pointless remake of the century. They're remaking Jumanji. Mars is done. He's over there behind the camera. They're remaking Jumanji. I don't know how they're going to try to put. Yes, they are remaking Jumanji. Of all the movies that you feel the urge to make, hey, let's make Jumanji again.
Would you like to do the honors with that yellow ball right there?
No.
You
Okay.
know what? You know what? Wait, this may have potential. If you use the same cast as before and do the exact same movie over, now they're all like hobbling around and old.
How are they going to run away from the rhinos?
The rhinos are all hobbling around and old. It's like geriatric Jumanji.
Instead of the rhinos, you get briefcases coming after you, alligator shoes, ostrich purses. You know, the animals are all dead.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, that could make a good interesting zombie animals.
Yes.
Zombies are big.
Zombies are really big. And our last bit of Geek Week news is, of course, Batman. We all saw it, most of us at midnight. I liked it, but I didn't at the same time because let's face it, you had a really tough act to follow with Dark Knight Returns, or whatever the last one was,
Yeah.
the Dark Knight.
Whatever.
It was the Joker, hard act to follow. I didn't mind what they did with Bane. I loved Catwoman. She made that movie, but that was the one aspect I hated to go into, was the Catwoman. But trust me, dude, she makes that movie.
I've heard that. I haven't actually seen the movie yet, and I tell you, actress that played Catwoman,
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. I cannot stand her.
See, I can't either. Like in Alice in Wonderland, she had those caterpillar eyebrows.
And I've heard that right. And I've heard that she was really good as Catwoman. And, part of me says, all right, well, maybe I have to go see this and not just wait for the video. But part of me says, I don't know. Maybe I should just wait for the video. My living room's safer.
See, that's the problem is they told a 3-hour movie that could have been told in an hour and a half because a lot of nothing happens. A lot of nothing happens. And I was so bored about an hour in. And we had this huge debate afterwards. But because Sidewinder brought his not secret girlfriend, who's actually really nice. I didn't know Sidewinder went out and found himself a girlfriend, but she kind of agreed with me somewhat, I think. But it was very interesting because I didn't like the way they ended it. And I think I was the only one in the theater that didn't like the way we ended it because everyone's all on the hype. Oh, it's Batman! But they see it and they're so full of the hype that they can't see the problems. And so I saw all the problems with it.
Yeah, I've heard it said that it seemed like a movie made for people that don't follow Batman.
Exactly.
If you follow Batman, you're going to say, all right, it's all right. If you don't follow Batman, you don't know any better. And therefore,
Yay, it's
You're
all
just
good,
like,
we're good.
yay.
I heard there was a quote of somebody coming out of the theater saying how wonderful it was that Stan Lee was a genius.
Oh.
Oh, genius of Stanley. So yes,
That's right.
that is
That was
our.
fun.
You saw Batman. What did you think of it?
It was okay. I've seen they could have cut it down a little bit, and then it looks like it also, even though he said the director said he's not going to make any more, he's also said it also looks like, oh, Robin just came into the part. Now we're gonna have him make another one, and made it for Batman, for Robin by himself, and then Batman just being in the outcast. La 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 la.
Yeah, no. Like I said,
No, but
they
that's what
ended
it looks
it
like.
where they basically have to reboot the Batman franchise, and I hate that because they're trying to do Justice League. No, I don't think it's going to happen right. I just don't. Well, Mars, have you seen the movie yet? Well, he kind of looks like Nightwing on the end with that outfit. Sorry, we don't mean to spoil too much for you, but
It's all good. It's all good.
he kind of looked like it. I think Sidewinder and I were the only one who actually saw that. Everyone else is kind of like, what? What happened? What?
It'd be really hard to do a contemporary Robin because red and yellow doesn't work these days. But you could do Nightwing. You can make that awesome.
So, yes, that was this week of Geek Week News. You can get all the videos and pictures of it on the site. Now, we have a secret video that was sent to us by our mainframe core, Jenny. And I don't know if Pyro's in the studios yet to watch it, but he's supposed to be here with Soul. So, do we have that video ready?
Please say you do. Yes. No. No. Yes.
All I heard was some squiggles in my ear. Was that a yes?
They're working on it.
Okay.
Aw.
So, there we are again. You have to put it on Final Cut.
Diabolical means.
This is why we love live shows.
Sorry guys, Jenny's got the hiccups.
Jenny always has the hiccups. I'm starting to think we need to upgrade.
But then wouldn't
Hello, I am Ginny, the diabolical mainframe AI. Never wonder what happens in Pyro's labs when he thinks no one is looking. I know. I have cameras everywhere and try as he did. He missed one. So now his secret can be revealed to the world. I hope you enjoyed. I know I did.
I don't know. Apparently, that's what Pyro does in his lab where no one's looking. He rides around on Mims with a cowboy hat. It's just unbelievable, you know? So, it's going to be hard to follow. It'll be hard to follow that one up, but we are talking about LARPing today. We have Chris from Zit Pop Goblin Games here. He came because he makes LARPing games. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but when I think of LARPing, I think of kids with really thick glasses wearing capes, writing stuff down in the forest. That's honestly what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I, being the geek I've been, haven't really been into the LARPing scene at all. And everyone's seen that video with lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt.
Yes,
Everyone's
yes,
seen that
yes,
one,
yes.
and it just makes LARPing look really bad. We all know it does. It does. So Death, I found out, LARPs, and so I went and watched them once, and, you know, getting kind of an education of LARPing, I really thought it'd be good if we just talked about LARPing and dispelled all of those myths.
good.
So, what is the worst myth about LARPing you've ever heard?
Well, I've heard it described as folks with, you know, pillows wrapped around a stick, messing around in the forest, smacking each other, and it. I mean, you know, to a point, we got some padding on. We don't want to hurt each other and that sort of thing. But you know, it really. It kind of depends. When you look at LARP and you think about that sort of thing, you get some of these images in your mind. You've got some media like the movie Role Models. You've got some media covering kind of what LARP is from a joking about it viewpoint, and really, and here in the U.S., it is becoming a bigger thing to the point where people actually, you say the word LARP, and even if somebody associates it with Role Models or something to that effect, at least they've heard the term, which is a far cry from when I started years back, before I was this big around. But it's growing by leaps and bounds. It's not as much, you know, to a point. There are those who are just in their blue jeans, running around without a T-shirt, swinging something, yelling at people.
They call that redneck LARPing.
Yeah. But the more people get into it, and really, when you see videos like the infamous lightning bolt video, you're standing outside looking at the game, and yes, it looks funny. I do LARP, and yes, it looks funny. From the people playing, because it's the more immersive you can get, the more props you have, the better your costuming look, the better the area, the surroundings look, and help you get into the game and playing it. It's a whole different experience. And here, even though we're kind of laughing about it and see it from one standpoint here in the U.S., if you go to places like Denmark, LARP itself is so big that there are government subsidies of LARPs. That it's like, I just was reading an article the other day. It's like the third biggest entertainment activity in the country in Denmark. And when they get into the immersion thing, now here it's mostly, and even there, it's mostly fantasy-oriented LARPs. But even in places like there, it's a lot more of a role play aspect, and they even get into things like role playing office scenarios and crazy.
Who wants to
like
role
that.
play an office?
You see,
I'm going to be the boss. You can't use the copy machine.
On the one hand, I would say, wow, that sounds awful. On the other hand,
At least it sets
kind
up
of
a
like to try it
scenario.
at least once. Might as well, right?
So you could say, okay, we're going to spend 10 energy points to stand at the cooler and talk. I mean, is that how it would play out?
I don't know in those particular ones. I haven't tried it out. I do know that in some of the areas like that where they're very much more into it, there are a lot fewer rules, and it's a lot more free form.
We've got all sorts of gremlins today. Pyro must be here.
Right. we can beat him down or something. Get some of them out here.
Yeah, I'm hoping he'll be here later because when we're going to do some demonstrations later. This should be lots of fun.
Wonderful.
Oh,
Now,
yes.
LARPing is role playing. Okay.
Yes.
Why did you have to physically act out instead of just doing like Dungeons and Dragons and sitting in your house with 20-sided die?
Because it just makes it that more fun.
More fun. Is that proper English?
Okay.
Mars, grammar Nazi. He's just quiet.
Okay.
Makes it
Makes it fun. Makes it funner to where
No.
you hush. I don't care anymore. It makes it to where you're not just going, 3 hours later, you're still doing all this stuff. You're actually going, okay, I have enough rage. I'm just going to go and start hitting people and just have fun with it.
I tell you, given the choice between rolling a die to see if you damage death and taking this and whapping him, what would you prefer?
Any day of the week.
I mean, it's
Okay.
I think the big allure initially is that it's kind of an active thing to do. We're not rolling dice. You're actually trying to hit your opponent, and it comes down to actual skill. And from that standpoint, a lot of people get into it from that, and get into it with more of the sport fighting aspect of it as opposed to the role play of it. And then
We can't hear that, right? You have the audio up. You really shouldn't have the audio up because we're trying to talk.
So,
Okay, Jenny, I know you're having the hiccups, but at least control.
Jenny, please. We
So-
are trying to talk about LARPing here.
a lot of people get into it from the sport combat side of things. It's fun to go out and run around and beat on somebody for a little bit. And then the longer people get into it, the more, especially if you have good storylines going within the game and a use of props and costuming and things like that, you start getting into more of the immersion of it, and it becomes, when you're sitting around a table and you're rolling dice, you've got the world pictured in your head. But when you open your eyes, you see your pal drinking the last of the sodas, right?
Just throw your dice at him.
There you go. Throw your dice at him.
Or
See, now you're LARPing gamers. No. When you're out doing a LARP, you don't have to open your eyes and see the other person taking the last soda. You open your eyes and see the other person is your opponent, and they're coming after you with their sword. You got to get ready with your sword.
Or flail.
There's a whole lot more to it. When you're standing in the woods somewhere, you're really standing in the woods somewhere. You get to that realism point. I mean, to a point. Obviously, these are not real. But you get that extra bit of realism to things, and it becomes a whole different gaming experience.
So you said it's mostly fantasy. Why don't they do like sci-fi or monsters or?
I think that it's mostly fantasy because that's the easiest to do. It's easiest to find the settings. You just go down to roll down to your local city park. You've got a forested area.
And planes. And
Which is actually where I saw Death LARP.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. It's also, places like that easy for people to get to. But as far as costuming and things, it's easy, especially with the abundance of things like Renaissance festivals and that sort of thing. It's really easy to find the costuming or to create the costuming. And there are whole sections of patterns at the fabric store just for medieval fantasy looking costuming. It's really easy to come by that sort of thing.
Or even
it's easy to make weapons that approximate swords and shields and stuff like that. When you get to a sci-fi setting, and now you're looking at branching into costuming that you've got to put more effort into. In a sci-fi setting, you're not necessarily out in the woods somewhere unless you're always going to be role-playing an away party or something to that effect. Can we stay on the ship just once? Oh, sure, if you can find a ship.
Yeah, no.
It's easy to do a fantasy LARP, and so that's what's most prevalent around. Now, there are other LARPs. I've seen rule sets for Old West LARPs. I've seen rule sets for some sci-fi sort of things. Mystic Cross, we're actually working on a set right now for a steampunk-oriented game.
Steampunk's getting pretty big.
It is. And it would be cool for costuming and stuff, which is why we're going into pushing to put out a game to explore that side of things. I think that as LARP becomes bigger in the U.S., you'll start to see a lot more different genres done like you see in other places in Europe.
So, we talked about steampunk, and that was one of those things that I got introduced to recently, and I got it. I got it. It's about a way of lifestyle. But it's becoming more mainstream, and it's affecting it. Do you think if LARP starts to become bigger and more mainstream, is it going to lose some of its luster? You can go to Walmart and find LARPing weapons. Something's about making it yourself. You're passionate about it.
There are a lot of companies that will make certain things. You can find costuming online. Mm-hmm. You can find costuming here in town. You can find weapons online. You can find some weapons online that look really good. They're real expensive. And so if you just wanted to throw down some cash, whether it be online now or at your local gaming shop, if there was a LARP section in your local gaming shop, I'd be there all the time looking at what was there.
I'll be guilty of that too.
I do say that I'm a big crafter, especially since I picked up this hobby. I've learned quite a bit of things. I've learned how to sew. I do all of my own costuming. I've learned metalworking. I do all of my own armor. I've learned a variety of other craft skills to be able to make some of the other props and things. And part of me really, really likes that aspect of the hobby. But at the same time, if there were a section of a gaming store with all kinds of props and stuff, and you could just go down and pick up stuff and go out to play, I'd be all for it. Go for it.
But then how do you handle the fake, pretentious douchebag LARPers who just, because it's the new hot thing?
Hit them again.
And again, until they get to the point, I guess.
Until they
Well,
learn their
you
lesson,
know.
or until they start to realize, oh,
Those type of people never learn the lesson, Death. They're always going from one fad to the next. They don't
yeah,
learn.
I know.
If you've got people
Case in
going
point.
from a particular fad and they're coming in, and it brings LARP to a bigger audience, even if those folks move on to the next fad, you've still got the larger audience, and they've done their thing. You've got more people that know about it, that know what's going on, that know what there is and available to go and test and play with and stuff. I mean, if you had enough fad followers to have LARP sections in stores, then you're going to have enough other people who are not simply following a fad that are going to see the LARP section, learn more about it, and go out and play.
So, Death, how long have you been LARPing?
Is that older middle-aged Lionel on question? Or
No, Death. How long have you been LARPing?
About 17 years.
And how long have you been LARPing?
Since before he was this big. Now, I actually started back in high school, and we won't discuss how long ago that was.
Okay, so why did you start LARPing?
Well, in high school, I was part of the fencing club. I did fencing as a sport, and I still enjoy it. But one day, some friends of mine that did LARP brought in some of the foam weapons instead, and we tried playing around with it a little. And I thought, hey, this is pretty cool. And I went out to a couple of their practices and said, this is pretty cool. Can't always get to their practices. So I got a few friends together and found a park close to where I lived, and we said, all right, well, we're going to start this and see what happens. And initially, it was for the combat, the sport of trying to beat each other. And once I started learning how to make things and craft things and learned that that was one of the big bugs that got me going, the more I got out of it, the more I liked it, the more immersive we could get with it. And over time, some friends and I, or my partner, Matt Griffith, that also helped me write, we tried some different groups, and we were with a few different groups for long periods of time because we wanted the rules slightly different. So we wanted it not just the sport fighting, but we wanted to encourage role play more. And eventually we said, well, what if we got some better ideas? What if we just go ahead and start writing? And so eventually we did. And so now we run a game that does all the testing for the new books that we're going to be putting out. And found a bunch of other people that have started really getting into it.
That's awesome. So you made most of this stuff between you and Death. Like,
Yep.
what is this? I look at it and I see something I could throw,
Yes.
Right.
maybe
So-
poke out someone's eye.
So as much as possible, we want props and we want realism. As much as possible. We also want myth and magic, which is not always real easy to do realistically. So we simulate what we have to simulate. Okay, some people say, well, why wouldn't you wear just padded or fake armor sort of thing instead of real armor? Why do you require real armor? You've got padded weapons. Well, because it's real. We don't have real weapons because you're really going to hurt somebody and the cops are going to say stop playing, and we don't want that to happen. So, but we don't. They're not going to say that about armor. For this is a simulation of a lightning strike from the heavens.
Lightning bolt.
There you
Lightning
go.
bolt. There you go. A spell
Lightning bolt.
cast. There you go.
Nope, doesn't work.
Not very effective.
Well, no, it's
Well,
because
not effective on death.
well, it's also because for our group, if I'm allowed to say it,
You're allowed to say it.
Amp Guard. It's you're supposed to say it 5 times while standing still and then launch it, like fireball,
What
fireball,
kind of
fireball,
silly,
fireball,
stupid
fireball.
rule is that? If I'm a wizard, I can just go lightning bolt and be done. I don't have to go lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt,
Well,
lightning
that's
bolt,
because-
lightning bolt, because that's just retarded.
Well, that's because of what their
so
rules are.
if you're a wizard, if you're playing a wizard in D&D, they're going to do some sort of other little casting sort of things with arcane words and all that sort of thing, right?
No, I usually just roll a die.
In the
That's
game,
kind of
they'll actually
D&D I
start to do
play.
it, but in his
All
case,
right.
it just goes, oh, I'm just rolling a die.
So, but you're rolling the die.
I don't roll it 5
character
times.
would be-
Well, no, it's just one. It's just,
so your character would be saying something or casting a spell.
Yeah,
And-
take that.
and
There we go.
In this scenario, by saying it, you're taking the time to
build up
build up
light
the
and-
energies and cast the
So
spell.
you could technically say like a whole sentence, like your incantation, instead of lightning bolt 5 times.
Well,
to a point. Now, a lot of the rule systems will say, here is the incantation. Here's what you have to say to cast a lightning bolt. The reason for that is playability. If I'm a wizard and I've got these 2 things and I rattle off some sentence, death is a hoser, right?
I agree.
Which of these have I prepared and I'm about to throw at you? You don't know. So for playability, if I want to throw this one, I start saying lightning bolt, you know this is the one that I'm preparing to throw at you. And with the way spells work like that, so these are ones that I would charge up and throw, and then other magics have a particular range effect. I start pointing at you and casting my spell, but you have to know as a player what I'm doing so that you as a character can react appropriately. If I point at you and say, I baste thee in butter sauce, well, that's nice and all,
I'd
but
be
it doesn't
awfully
mean
tasty.
anything.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, but if I'm casting some spell that you as a player knows is about to kill you, and I finish it, you know that as a character, you now have to fall down dead because you're dead.
You can't just run away
Well, you could try running away.
or
I'm
hit
just
them
saying
5
that-
times. There's a lot of times to say something. I got this. I'm hitting you in the head.
well, I wouldn't hit the person in the head
So-
due to our rules.
You and your rules.
Here's
Hey,
the
it's
thing.
not mine.
Yeah, we don't want to hit people in the head. So your other players are your toys in this. You don't want to break your toys. They won't want to play with you. If you go around hitting people in the head, nobody's going to play with you, or they'll just all hit you in the head, and then you'll be
Calling it a day.
you'll have the IQ of death.
What is this?
So
Ow.
It looks like a lollipop or something.
I brought this along. So the weapons that we make, again, foam padded so that they're nice and safe. They're all nice and squishy sort of thing, kind of like a high-tech Nerf, essentially. And there are different ways of doing it that's been evolving over time. Because even though this is padded, we want to try to make it look as good and potentially look as realistic as we can.
That's a black too. It doesn't look very realistic.
Right. So this is what a lot of people are using at the moment because we're at the tail end of using this style technology and at the very beginning of using some of this other stuff that I'm going to show you in a minute. So basically we have a core material, either PVC or kind of a fiberglass rod that runs through. This is like a pool noodle. You play with them in the pool.
Oh, the fun noodles?
Yeah.
You slide it on that pup. You put some other little foam here so you can stab each other and not
Fancy
poke the
foam.
end out the hole into somebody. And then cover it a little bit so it looks a little nicer than just the little foam that you see there. And you're good until the foam breaks down and you replace it. So this is what you see a lot of people playing with. This is the sort of thing you see in role models and that sort of thing. Because for years now, this has been the prevalent technology. What I brought here is we started developing some new techniques, and this is a half-built dagger. It's not completely constructed yet, but I brought it to show you kind of what the newer stuff is looking like inside. So we still have a core material. This is a fiberglass rod. Okay, found at the local hardware store. But now we have access to different types of foam. So what I've done is, let's see one of the cameras here. I don't know how well we can zoom in on this, but we have a baser material that's a little on the thicker side. You wouldn't necessarily want to get hit just by this.
Yeah.
Okay, but it builds up around the core here so that it provides a base shape to build other layers of foam. And then we've got other layers, a couple other layers of, this is a cut down camp pad glued over the top so that we don't have to use tapes and stuff. And now we've got a little more along the shape of a blade sort of shape. And then this would get finished off by adding a little more foam to the end here and adding a hilt of some sort of a handle added on, and a little foam type pommel on the butt end for a little bit of safety, because you wouldn't want to, you know, stick somebody. So this is kind of what some of the newer stuff is looking like inside. Then we take this newer stuff, and this is here, we'll go with this example here. And we still put some cloth covering on.
Oh, that's awesome. Let me
We
see.
still put some cloth covering on the striking surface, just because it's going to take a lot of abuse. Then we can do other neat stuff with it. So this that you see, aside from here, all of this part that's not the hitting part, we've covered, in this case, in a layer of what's called plastidip or tool dip. You'd normally use it if you've got the handle on your pliers is peeled away, the plastic handle. You've got this stuff that you dip in a few times and you've got a new handle, because it's this rubbery sort of stuff. But it flexes real nice with weapons, and so it allows you to layer up and paint over, and you can do this is all just a foam. I don't know if we've got some sort of thing there, but we've got a little flower going here, and it's all just layers of foam glued together. And so when you're LARPing with this, it's kind of fun. You're beating people. When you're LARPing with this, you're still beating people, but now you're looking a lot
Cooler when you do
prettier
it.
at it. Right. And with this sort of thing, you can make a pile of other things. So my shield down here, this is all foam. With
Still
the
looks
plastic
really
dip
cool.
over it, it's still, I mean, I've got a little bit of a wooden base deep down inside to give it some structure. But it's just layers of foam. You can do stuff like that. I've got spoon. This is one piece of foam. I added a core push down inside and just plastic dipped over, painted up. Looks kind of like a wooden spoon, but then when you go to beat death, you know, he can't bring a lawsuit against you.
He's
You know,
great
you're
on
not
being
not
beaten.
leaving marks. Right.
So you have all these weapons, and there's some weapons over there. Why don't you, you and Death, and we'll get Soul out here as well, show us some LARPing techniques.
Sure. We
So,
can do that.
unclip your mics.
All right.
We'll switch to the outside mics. And we're going to do some demonstrations. So, where is... What you looking for? Soul.
Oh, so,
You guys arm yourselves. Soul, come on.
All right.
Everyone, this is Soul.
do you want us to play with
You're
shields,
detective.
swords,
You're gonna be
daggers, lightning
doing
bolts,
some more
fireballs,
stuff.
spear of annihilations? What do you want?
Give me the big sword.
Here you go.
Oh, I have to fight against this?
Well, not just him.
Oh, Death. Not Death. Pyro!
Come out here. Aw, you. You may want this one too, just to help yourself. And if you'll move and that way, there you go. Have your fun.
All right. So have you ever done this sort of thing before?
Seen a couple of them.
Excellent. So, since we've got an audience that might not have done this sort of thing before as well, I'll go over a little bit about what we're doing here. This is some of the basic rules that are used in most of the LARP in North America, some of the European ones as well. To begin with, we don't want to hurt each other. All right? So I'm not going to smack you in the head.
Oh,
You're
come
not going to
on!
smack me in the head.
Why
That
not?
might be another story.
Because you don't want to cause a concussion, or someone could have a brain tumor that could just go, and it just happen right there.
Right, and then your only job could be helping Death out on the next. No. So we're going to stay away from the head and neck, okay? Now, the way it works is all of the part that's the cloth cover there is the part you can hit with. All right? Don't hit me with your hands. I won't hit you with my hands. All right. And the way it works is if you get hit in an arm, you can't use that arm anymore. You've been wounded. All right? If you get hit in a leg,
Don't do it. Don't no.
you can't use that leg anymore. All right?
Just
Two limbs, or a hit to the torso, front or back, and you're considered dead. And then you wait a minute and get ready and start all over.
Yeah,
And
back
that's
alive.
all there is to it. Simple enough?
Yes.
All right. And when we start off with stuff like this, we'll just all lean a little weapon in and tap and say, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready. We're all ready? All right. So, I'm going to hold this up and try not to get hit. You're going to try and hit me. I'm going to try and hit you. Are you sure you're ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So, that would be a hit to the torso.
You okay?
Yeah.
At which point, he role plays laying down. Wonderful. Excellent death role play. Oh, death hit me on the back, and therefore I am dead. I also lost my hammer, which is a shame because it's so pretty. So, with a couple of us dead,
You don't want to put down that.
we all step back up and get to try it again.
All right.
You ready to try some more?
Yeah.
All right. You ready? Game on.
Who to go out for? Who to go for?
Go after Soul!
Go fight this.
Man, he's quick.
Thump thump.
All right.
I think he's dead.
Dead. Multiple hits in the back.
Excellent. I like the hammer. I have to get in real close, but it's
So-
fun to smack on something.
That's basically how you fight. You just hit each other. Correct.
Essentially.
And he was on these because he got hit. So how do these work then?
Okay. Stand
Here, Dad,
still.
Show us these.
Okay.
I'm getting out of your way though. You're not hitting me with nothing.
So
Oh
this
no!
sort of thing.
Alternative reality game.
Really, any of the systems. The different color spell balls. What this is, do different things. The yellow is lightning coming at somebody. So in order to cast it, he's got to say lightning bolt 5 times so that I know. Oh, he's casting the yellow one.
Lady bolt, lady bolt, lady bolt, lady bolt, lady bolt, lady bolt.
Right. And at this point, he will try and throw it and hit me. If he hits me, I'm dead. If he hits some of my stuff, it's considered shattered, destroyed by lightning. So for a shieldman, I'm really hoping he gets the shield and not me.
Deflected!
At which point I could run on in on him.
So-
he really needs some friends to help
Do
him
you
out.
have to stop there while he's saying that, or while he's saying that, can you chase him
You
so he
can
has
chase
to run?
me down.
I can, yeah. I can go chasing, running after him while
Because
he's
really,
trying to-
dude, you just stood there going, yeah, come on, do it, deflected, done.
Right. Well, because we want people to see what's going on in this. Or really, if he's casting that, I don't. You know, in this case, I put up my shield. Oh, my shield's destroyed. I get to run up on him and smack him anyway. But now my shield's destroyed, and some of the other people are around wanting to hit me.
So this makes LARPing look like it's really, really quick. Like you can play a game in 5 minutes.
Yeah. You can play like a battle.
It can be quick.
Well,
So
look
how,
at-
so
It
how do you
doesn't
do?
necessarily have to be quick. It can be quick.
Because Jesus was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Soul was just, watch out, do it again.
Yeah. But he may not want to block with both his weapons at the same time. With this, ice ball, ice ball, ice ball, ice ball, ice ball.
So, being ice, he's now frozen for 5 minutes.
Which now I can do.
So is there a referee with a timer that comes out and just
No,
watches to make sure, or is it
Actually,
just on your
you know,
honor
actually,
system?
it's just,
It's for the most part, it's honor system. Sometimes you have some referees out, or some folks that don't necessarily want to fight, but they're still participating. They will volunteer to be referees. For the most part, even when you get to groups where there are hundreds of people,
Don't take him away. I'm with the fireball here.
Oh.
you don't really
Ashes.
need
You go back
a
over there.
lot of referees.
You're still frozen.
People are real good about taking their hit. If they were hit, they're taking it.
So you know, how do you deal with the poor sports then? Those ones like, you didn't hate me, they throw a temper tantrum
Or
like this.
like no, not like a temper tantrum like this. Oh, that was my neck. Oh,
You
that was
throw
my
temper
neck.
tantrums, don't lie.
My
No, I'm just
view
saying
is,
about bluffers.
my view is,
Fireball, fireball, fireball.
If
fireball,
I've hit you
fireball,
once-
fireball, fireball, fireball.
I can hit you again, and I like hitting you. That's part of the fun of the game.
I like when you hit death. Do some more. So back hit, done, dead. You're
Yeah.
out of the game.
Sure, part of the torso.
Is there like some sort of resurrection spell, or do you just
there
come up
are,
with somebody
But you
different?
get that really depends on the game, and a lot of the games that do go this fast, you get so many lives. You're out of the game for a little bit, and you get to come back in and do it again in the same game. You're out of the game for like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the game. Okay.
Yeah.
There are some groups that instead of being this quick, I mean, it's a hit, it's a hit. But there are some groups that still go with a hit point system like you'd see in Dungeons and Dragons, that sort of thing. And so when I'm striking you, instead of just striking and hitting you, I'm going to say something like 5, 10, however much damage I'm doing. And folks that play that get real good at math real fast. They have to know when they're dead. In some of those games, you sometimes have a chance to come back, and sometimes in the games, if your character dies, your character's dead.
See, I like those type of games. If you're dead, you're just dead. So we have, speaking about mainstreaming LARPing, we have a trailer for Unicorn City, which we're going to start showing. That was a great demonstration. Good job, Soul. You're much better than I thought you would have been.
Yeah.
So do we have that trailer ready? I'm going to take that as a yes.
We're working
No, we're
on
doing
it.
it now. Yeah, LARPing instincts. Let me see the hammer.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome, dude. You just schooled death right on the back.
Well, it's real fun to. That hammer is some fun to hit things with.
Unicorn City. Have you seen this trailer?
No.
All right, you can remind yourself back up now.
You can't do that. I'm a bardladin. Okay? Slaying and singing is what I do.
That's an alternative reality game. If you want this job, you need to stand out, prove to me you can lead people.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Let's do it.
Why don't you go join another guild? Stop picking apart my narrative in some desperate attempt for attention.
I figured out how I'm gonna get the job at Warlock. I'm creating a utopia for gamers.
Welcome to Unicorn City. You are now quite literally your characters. And through them, we shall create a utopia.
I want to create a love interest for Roshana to experience for the duration of this campaign. And I really like the idea of her falling in love with your character.
Magmald went celibate.
We can work around that.
Do you even really want to be with him? You need to do something risky.
A challenge has been made for the leadership of Unicron City.
I'm gonna club you like a baby seal.
It's like a geek reading ground.
We gather strength and charge!
That hurt so bad.
Win a party or what?
Order it when you go home and watch it, have all sorts of fun. But yeah, that's LARPing in a nutshell. We've got about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
And I really want to talk about Mystic Crossroads because I've seen the rulebook Death plays with, and it's about 600 times this size.
Well, that's just the basic.
Yeah, that thing is this big, dude. You could kill somebody with that if you really wanted to.
Well, that's not just the rules. That big one that Father has, yeah, the rule book's actually about a few pages more than that.
So what makes this different from regular systems?
Well, a lot of systems have a focus on one of two things. They're either very much into the combat, and then role play is sort of a side issue. You know, people will kind of get into it if they want, but they're mostly there to fight, which is good. It's fun. And then you have some of the organizations that are very, very much into role play, and the fighting is less. There's not much to it. In some I've even seen, we have archery and stuff that we will use real bow and arrows, padded arrows for safety and that sort of thing. But there are some groups where because they're into the role play stuff and they're not as much into the combat, they'll have like a cardboard bow and somebody will call out, "Oh, you were hit by an arrow." Kind of crazy. What we've done is we really liked some of the immersive role play, but we also really liked the fast-paced fighting. And we really like being able to play with house rules and that sort of thing. So we developed a system that takes the fast-paced fighting and puts it in a full world with a world history and races and things of the more role play side of it. And we've developed the system so that it's real easy for groups to add in things that they want to add in for their particular group. This particular book that we started off with, it's got the whole world history, kind of an overview and the different races and things, which even if you're not playing this particular game, gives you a lot of depth and character background for whatever LARP system or whatever gaming system that you're playing. It's got the rules for this system, and then you've got a whole section on things like how to make your own weapons, how to make some of your own costuming, how to start your own group if you've never done it before. So it becomes a little more of an all-in-one starter package for somebody who wants to play in a system or wants to start their own.
So you play this here in town?
In Round Rock.
How often?
Monthly. The last Sunday of every month at Lake Creek Park, starting about 2 o'clock.
I know where that's at.
Yeah?
Yeah, I know where that's at. So Chris has given us a copy of this book we're going to give away on the site. Same rules as always. You just comment on articles. We'll pick one at random using random.org, which is the craziest, funnest thing ever. I just like putting random stuff in there to see if I can predict it. Never fails. So I feel a lot better about LARPing now because I still didn't get it, but between you and Death explaining a little bit more, I think people don't have that fear of it. I think that's what it was, is the fear, because like when I went with Death and watched him play, everyone else in the park was just kind of like,
why are we here?
Oh, what are they doing? Oh, they're hitting each other with fake weapons. Yeah, we're taking the kids this way. It was one of those situations.
Yeah, I've been in situations like that. I've been in places where I've gone, say, walking through the store on my way home, still dressed up, and had mothers pull their kids away. Don't go next to.
Try having this dude follow you around all the time. He's always right there. When our crew goes anywhere, people stop and go, "Oh no, we're going to the other side of the street."
We decided when Matt and I started this group and started our test group, we decided that it was definitely going to be family friendly. So we have kids playing. I mean, you have to be a particular age to be able to do the fighting aspect. But one of the big things that we did when we developed the system is that if you can't fight, or you don't want to fight, or you're not old enough, or what have you, you can still build a character, you can still do the other skills, and you can still participate in the game as a whole. And so from that standpoint, we have some families that come out, we have kids playing as well as adults playing, and everybody's able to kind of do it together, and it's a lot less odd for some of the other people coming by the park when they see groups and families and stuff getting into it.
Well, this has been an awesome hour. I can't believe it's already over. This was really quick. It was a lot of fun, and you make amazing props. I will just say that because I'm a crafter as well. I make crazy stuff, though. Little voodoo dolls, things like that, trying to get rid of Death. So
that has worked yet.
No, I can't get rid of him. Do you have any tips to get rid of him?
Beat him with a spoon. You may not get rid of him, but it's so much fun.
I agree. I think someone make a note. We need to get giant spoons for everyone to beat Death with. You guys got that written down? Thank you, Mars. Mars is our chief of security. See? So thank you, Chris, for coming out. Thanks for the book to give away. It's actually quite interesting just looking through it as you're talking about making costumes. Yeah, it's right there in the back, dressing the part. And everyone in here, they all play with you guys up north in Round Rock?
Everyone in there has played with us at some point.
One of them's a little hottie. I didn't say that on TV, did I?
Well, I know my audience.
So you must. So yes, this has been good. We will have the rules for this soon.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun being here. Have me back anytime.
I would love to have you come back because you were incredibly funny. Death is always dead. I don't know what it is. It's just part of his personality, but Death is always dead.
Well, excuse me for not bringing up some of the stuff that I know.
You don't know anything. That's the problem.
You never asked the right questions.
So we will not have a show next week. We're taking the week off. We will come back in 2 weeks with Remake of Mania because Hollywood seems to want to remake everything. And we're going to follow that up with our first actual showdown, Giant Robot Showdown. It's going to be awesome. So it's going to be lots and lots of fun. As usual, you can go to diabolicalleague.com. You can book your space to be in our studio audience. It's free. We love to have you people here. You never know what's going to happen. You can also, you can also call in, things like that. So we will see you all in 2 weeks. I hope you all know a little bit more about LARPing. And thank you again, Chris, for showing up. It was fun to watch you beat on Death and Soul. That was probably the best part of my week right there, and it's just started. So thanks for coming. Death, you have a good time?
Yep.
All right, we will see you all in about 2 weeks, and I think that pretty much about wraps up our time.